Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke Daniel, a realtor with Realty Austin Compass in Austin, Texas. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Ivan Garcia. He's a loan officer at SouthStar Bank, and we're diving into what every first-time home buyer needs to know in today's market. Ivan, thanks for being here today. And can you introduce yourself and your role at SouthStar Bank and let us know what types of clients you typically like to work with?
Yes, my name is Ivan Garcia with SouthStar Bank. I've been in the mortgage business 16 years, helping first-time home buyers uh, achieve home ownership, that American dream, and get into their first house. And so my typical client is that first-time home buyer that I'm navigating through the whole uh, first-time home buying process.
Nice. Yeah, first-time homebuyers are great. I love working with people that haven't bought a home before and guiding them through all of the how-tos and steps and things they need to know. But well,
Yes.
let's start at square one. So if someone's thinking about buying their first home, what's the first step that they should take before looking at homes?
What I like to do with the clients is come up with a home buying plan. Like that very first step of I go over what your goals are, what the financial situation is, how much you're planning to put as a down payment, or maybe you don't have a down payment at all, coming up with solutions to reach that goal of home ownership. So I think that's the first thing, is just knowing what your goals are and coming up with a plan to get there.
Awesome. And then what documents or financial information should buyers prepare before they meet with a lender?
So when we're coming up with a home buying plan, I always want to see your income documentation. So pay stubs, tax returns, W-2s, to get a picture of what your income looks like. And then also your asset statements. It could be bank statements, retirement or 401k statements, and any investment or brokerage accounts that you might have. Just so we have a clear picture of the funds available. Not that you're going to put money down from all those sources, but how much you're going to have in reserves after you buy a home. And then also just maybe you have an idea of a family member or somebody that's going to be able to help with maybe a gift for a down payment. So having a clear picture of your financial situation, any documentation that you have on that would help when you're meeting with a lender.
Okay, awesome. And then there are quite a few types of loans out there. Can you break down the most common options like the conventional FHA, VA, and what might be best for first-time home buyers?
Yes. So just going through the mortgage options, of course, if you're a veteran, you may be eligible for a VA loan, which is a great option that doesn't require a down payment. If you are a first-time home buyer, I guess the most typical one would be an FHA loan because of the low down payment requirements, maybe the less stringent credit requirements, and higher what's called debt to income uh, qualifications that they allow, maybe borrowing a little bit more since you're putting less money down. But then unconventional, if you have some money to put down and the conventional is the right solution for you, we'll definitely look at that option and just go throughout the different solutions that we have, the mortgage solutions we have for your home buying needs.
Okay, so more of a customized approach based on every person's different.
Yes,
S-
everybody wants to buy in different areas or their financial situation is different. So we
yeah,
want to make sure that we put you in the best product for you.
okay. And then what's the difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved, and why does that matter in a competitive market?
Well, a lot of times, when you're pre-qualified, it means different things for different lenders. But sometimes it could mean that maybe a lender has not run your credit or really they may have just asked you your income verbally. But when you're getting a pre-approval letter, conditional pre-approval, that may mean that they ran your credit. They did get copies of your actual income statements instead of taking, just what you said. They did review your asset statements, and then they have, run the numbers, run everything through what's called automated underwriting, and are able to issue a conditional approval. So that's just a stronger letter that gives the sellers confidence, right? That the lender did more work than just take everything verbally. And so when you're competing with other home buyers for a house, you want to be the strongest buyer possible.
Yeah, awesome. And are there any first-time homebuyer programs or grants, down payment assistance options that you're seeing right now through SouthStar Bank or otherwise?
Yes. So like in the different cities that you might be maybe buying in, or counties, or even the
Mhm.
state, like we're both in the Austin area. So the city of Austin has down payment assistance. The state of Texas has their own down payment assistance program. Um, the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas, the whole state, qualifies, or not qualifies, but is eligible, or the whole state is open. The Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas has a program for down payment assistance, a home buying grant.
Mm,
SouthStar Bank also has first time home buying mortgage options where we don't have a minimum down payment requirement. It's called our Hope Loan. So
mhm,
we could finance a loan at maybe even 100% financing with no mortgage insurance. And it's just
mm.
different solutions that where there's different eligibility requirements for each of those programs. But we could, find what's the best solution for you, which ones you qualify for. Some of them have income restrictions that are tighter than others. And so we just get an idea once we're doing that home buying plan and we know your financial situation. We could go over any options that you might fit into.
Okay. And the Dallas one you mentioned, that's statewide. You don't have to live in Dallas to qualify for that one?
Yes, the Federal Home
Okay.
Loan Bank is from Dallas, of Dallas,
Oh, okay.
but it actually covers like Louisiana, Texas, New
Oh,
Mexico.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And then I know you mentioned there's like we talked about the FHA and VA being not a 20% down payment, but a lot of people have that misconception. So, um, can you clear that up and what the difference is in putting 20% down versus a smaller down payment?
Yeah, sometimes I meet with people and or maybe just talk to them and ask, have you bought a house yet?
Yeah.
And they say, we're still saving money, right? Because we need 20% down. So that definitely is a misconception that somehow still, exists, that people think we need 20% down in order to buy a house. And with rising home prices, or the way that the market has gone, right, especially in the Austin area, 20% is harder to do. So that knowing about the different programs, the grants that are out there, and even about the FHA loan, where you could get into a house with as little as 3.5% down, or the SouthStar Bank Hope Loan program, where
Mhm.
there's no minimum down payment. Um, those are all options where people that thought maybe, it's going to take me years to be able to be home buyer ready,
Yeah.
that we're able to expedite that and get them into a house sooner.
Nice. That's a good one too, the HOPE program. So as far as like the buyer's credit score, what's the minimum score that you're looking for these days to get approval?
Well, the different programs each may have their own separate minimum credit scores, right? But most home buyers are trying to get to a 620, uh, just because that's a threshold for some of the conventional loans and other loan programs. And the higher your credit score is, typically it's a lower interest rate or lower cost that you're going to be paying for that mortgage. So when people are looking at minimums, a good goal would be 620. Not to say that that's the minimum credit score, but that's a good goal to work towards.
Okay. And then what are some common credit mistakes that buyers make before applying that could hurt their approval odds? And maybe a couple of tips on how to beef up their credit score if they do have a lower score.
Yes. So when we're talking about credit mistakes, I'm thinking of things that are finance, right? That are going to show up on your credit. So co-signing for somebody, right? On a loan, that could affect your qualification. It affects your monthly debt, and then which is going to affect your debt to income ratio. Financing things that maybe you might have money for, but then you see when you're about to pay that these companies will offer financing like Affirm or Klarna, and then those payments need to be added to your monthly debts. Financing just things for family members, right? Those are little mistakes that may affect your credit score, or credit qualifying. Or sometimes I've seen buyers where like it's not a big deal. Maybe if they miss or just pay late all the time on utilities or other things like that, when we're trying to build maybe non-traditional credit, and we want to see a good payment history on, since they don't have a credit history. Like you said, things that could beef up your credit or that we could build around. Maybe you have light credit, really haven't taken anything out, getting these credit builder loans that a lot of credit unions have, credit builder loans that you're able to sign up for. Having a secured credit card, getting a secured credit card, or becoming an authorized user on a credit card, on somebody's credit card who has established credit history. That those are items that help beef up your credit score.
Okay, good tips. So if somebody's renting now and they want to buy in the next year, and when should be a good time that they start preparing, and what should they do to prepare financially?
I think when you're preparing, I mean, you want to start as soon as possible, right? Even if you just signed a lease and you say,
Mhm.
you want to give yourself even the whole year to buy the house, you want to know what your purchasing power is. Um, and then since you're going to have a goal, a home buying goal, you want to know, like, are you going to have enough time to get there? So as soon as you can, meeting with the loan officer, getting a home buying plan together, and then reviewing that plan again in 6 months in case anything changes, right? Any job changes, any changes in, your car broke down and now you had to get a new car and now that payment looks different. And then also when you're 90 days from the end of your lease, maybe your last one where you're actually getting pre-qualified for the house that you want to buy. And we know everything's in place because we've already met, we've come up with a plan, and now we're almost there, right, to the home
Mhm.
buying stage.
Okay. And then, so once somebody is like they're approved, they find a home and now they're under contract, what are some costs that they need to have saved up for and prepare for, like closing costs and other fees and things that might pop up during the transaction? Like, I know, for
Yeah,
one, I know the inspection is one that can be 400 to 600, but on the mortgage side, what else is there?
yeah. When you were asking this question, I was thinking of, right, when you're going to put an offer on a house, right? A buyer might not know that typically with the offer, they're giving 1% of the sales price, right, as
Okay.
earnest money. So that's money that they're going to that's going to leave their account pretty much right away. Then, like you mentioned, you're going to get a home inspection because you want to know what you're getting into. You want to know if there's anything wrong or things that you're going to have to fix right when you get in. So you want to know what you're buying. So you get a home inspection, and like you stated, $400 to $600. Another thing is that the bank is going to want to order an appraisal to know that the house that you're buying at the price that you're buying, that it's and has an opinion of value of that, at least that amount. So that could be another $500 to $600 that you pay upfront
Mhm.
in order to pay for that appraisal. The other closing costs would be typically paid at closing, but they include any lender origination fees, the fees that the title company charges to do the transaction and give you a title commitment, your credit report fee. Uh, the seller might be giving you a survey, but if you have to get your own survey, that's something that would get paid at closing. Your home insurance policy, your hazard insurance, that would get paid at closing for the full year. And then money that's going to go into your escrow account, which is a savings account for your property taxes and homeowners insurance. We have to build in some reserves on that. So those are all, that's all money that's going to be paid in at closing.
Okay. Um, and so, like, say they were out shopping and found a home, they could send that address to you, and we, could kind of talk about that and kind of get a good ballpark number together. So once they are under contract, what are some things that could delay or derail a mortgage approval?
Yeah, so I think things that delay it or derail a mortgage approval, right, is always new debt, right? So trying to, you're excited about buying a house and you're looking forward to everything that's going to be in the house, and you want new furniture, a new dining table, a new sofa set, or appliances, right? And going out and trying to and financing that before you close on a house, right? So any new credit inquiries, any new debt can affect your pre-qualification. So if those are your plans, right, I would say, wait until after you close on the house before you do any major purchases, right? Before you quit your job and try to look for a new job. So any changes in your financial situation can affect your mortgage pre-qualification.
Yes. Well, so Ivan, I always tell my clients choosing a lender is just as important as choosing their realtor. So, from your point of view, what does a strong agent lender partnership look like?
I think great communication between your agent and your lender, right? You want everybody to be on the same page. You want when I give a pre-qualification letter, I want the agent to know, this is what their home buying power is and what it's based on. And so when we look at things in the Austin area where property taxes vary quite a bit, property to property, and and your property taxes are going to be a big part of your mortgage payment, right? So your mortgage payment is a big part of your purchasing power, right, of your pre-qualification letter. So having an idea of what the max property taxes are, working together as an agent where they're sharing information on these are the houses that we're going to go look at this weekend. Can you run scenarios so that when you put an offer, you know what the payments are going to look like if they accept your offer, and just double checking and making sure you're pre-qualified for that specific property, even if the sales price is the same as the next property. The property taxes could be very different, and you might qualify for one and you not qualify for another. So I think just the teamwork where everybody's on the same page and communication is important in that partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing, like I've had a lot of people don't know, property taxes can vary one neighborhood to the next because it's based on the school district.
Yes.
Is a large part of it. So one houses with the same price might have vastly different property taxes. So that is a good tip. So why do you think working with a local lender like SouthStar Bank can make a difference for first-time home buyers versus the national or online only option?
Yeah. So when you're a first time home buyer, right, home buying is such a large transaction. It's a big decision, a big commitment. And sometimes you want to know that there's somebody there, right, that you can go see,
Yeah.
or sometimes you want to get pre-qualified in person and have a person that's going to guide you through the process. And that's sometimes not something you could do, with an 800 number. Um, Sometimes bigger banks, even though they have branches in the area, right, the decisions aren't being made locally, right? So having somebody local that the seller and the agents know that they could get a hold of, that's going to be responsible for the transaction, that's going to be in charge of the transaction and be accountable. All these things are things that a local bank like SouthStar Bank provide, for first-time home buyers.
Mm.
They know the
Yeah.
market, right? Being in here in the market that you want to buy in, instead of maybe a call center where um, that person doesn't know, like we talked about the property taxes varying from neighborhood to neighborhood, right? They just
Mm.
might have a spreadsheet where it says, oh, in Texas, just use this amount for property taxes based
Yeah.
on the purchase price, right? So like they don't know how to customize. They might not know how to customize. They might not know just the market, right? Of is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What are sellers going to look for in the process, right? So just being a local loan officer, it kind of gives you your home buyers an edge on the offers that you're submitting.
Nice. I agree. I have had sometimes when I'm presenting an offer too, the seller's agent will ask if it's a local lender. So Good, definitely a good tip there too. So, well, Ivan, this has been really insightful, and I really appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. If you are thinking about buying your first home and want a copy of our first time homebuyer guide, or if you'd like to connect with Ivan directly, reach out to me or Ivan at SouthStar Bank anytime. This is Brooke Daniel with Realty Austin Compass. And don't forget to follow for more tips and home buying advice. Ivan, any last thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun. It was fun
Yeah.
going over, this home buying process. I'm with SouthStar Bank, Ivan Garcia in Austin. Yeah, I'd love to help you purchase your first home. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again. Okay. Like, stop. How many times do I have to click stop? So, it says it's still recording. I'm gonna have to edit this.